You're on, boss.
Let's bring this special meeting to order. We have City Attorney Logan on speakerphone, and we have Commissioner Aska on speakerphone. Everybody else is here.
Can you hear that, Katie?
Yes, I can.
Okay, good.
And first order of business is consideration of sale of 617 North Washington Street to Country Floral and Gift based on proposal presented and approval of development agreement.
Mayor and Commissioners, the city attorney drafted for 617 North Washington a development agreement, which then in effect would transfer the property to Country Floral and Gift under the two owners. And all of the conditions, we have shared this with Country Floral and Gift, and they had two questions that they asked of me, and that was on the not to exceed on the demolition, a little bit of concern that demolition wasn't possibly going to, if it got to be over that. And I said, well, you can always the possibility of amending the agreement, but at this point, what is presenting, it would be approved as a not to exceed as presented. Unless the commissioner wanted otherwise at this point. And then the second thing was concern is on item number 5. It says that developers failed to commence the project within 1 month. And she said her contractors weren't going to start in a building until April 1. And I says, well, getting into the building and beginning the demolition is the start of the project. And they plan to do that immediately. So the start of the project would be met by getting in to do the demolition. Because they plan on doing a lot of the hard labor themselves for the demolition, and we'll coordinate for getting the with her to put her at least in contact of the asbestos removal contractor that we had the estimate for $8,000 on. The immediacy too would be for her to get a hold of and work with Mark Carmen right away on her plans for it, so they don't begin demolition on something that shouldn't be right away. Other than that, was there anything else you had questions on?
Well, I guess just when could we get the container and how do we get the container?
We'll have to
Work
order
out
that.
later.
We'll have to order that up right away, and usually you can get those within a week or two on site. And we'll have to first of all, block off the parking spot, the 2 parking spots, so we think it'll take, and so it's ready for, we don't own those containers. It'll actually come from Waste Management.
I would think they could get one faster than 2 weeks.
I would think
Yeah,
so.
I think they can.
Week or less.
It was that-
3 or 4 days. You can-
Yeah, most of the time they'll get them there within a week. We'll just I'll have the guys that go and block it off, and so that it's ready and prepped for Waste Management. We'll order one, and Waste Management will bring it in.
We'll need to make sure that we have caution signs on either side of the construction area for people walking on the sidewalk. They need to know that there's construction activity going on there.
Sure. Okay. And that's the kind of advice that Mark will be giving them as
Right.
building codes and making sure they have the appropriate construction fencing and all that. And most contractors understand that as well.
And all liability is on the owner, correct? Not
Yeah,
the city?
it does. The whole point of this is transferring the property to them. Is that
Cheryl?
not correct, Katie?
Yes, but Cheryl, the actual transfer will occur by deed. Have you contacted the title company to get a legal description and line up title insurance?
I have the legal description in the file with the previous deed. We just haven't taken the step for the title insurance yet.
Okay.
I don't usually order those up until I know this is a for sure thing, and that
Okay.
we finalize that. And then today, I would this afternoon make the call and do the order for the title insurance and transfer of property.
Okay.
And then we'll set up a closing date based on what they give me.
Okay.
That sound reasonable?
Yes.
Okay. And then once the title is actually in her name, then we'll hand her the key, and all liability on that date of the closing is when it all transfers to her, and then she's good to go. We're committing to pay for these certain things. Now, I'll give her all the information we had, but she won't be obligated to go with that exact same contractor we had lined up. I just know that the inspector is ready to go. That particular company was ready to go and move forward based on his bid. You don't have to use the same
We have
contractor.
an agreed to not to exceed.
No, that never reached that far. We just got an estimate from him, a cost estimate.
No, I mean the city. Does the city have an agreed to not to exceed?
On this, in the development agree, every one of these says a not to exceed. The only way that it would be able to change based if you agree on this now would be for her to come back and request an amendment of this.
I have a question, and in paragraph number 2, it says as soon as possible, but in paragraph B, it says the city will pay for the moderate asbestos remediation of the building in an amount not to exceed $10,000. Now, the contractors, it takes a special contractor for mold and asbestos?
Yes, but the estimate that the contractor had given us was a not to exceed $8,500.
Okay.
But that was 6 months ago too. And he not legally obligated to stand by that, and the estimate was based on an estimate to the city of Junction City. She will not be obligated to use that same contractor if she found someone else who could do it for less. That's a certified mold and asbestos removal person, which is required. Then she could use someone else.
Okay, because I'm concerned about the timeline. If we say, go to work, and she starts working, and here comes the mold asbestos guy, he needs to be in there first, right?
Yeah, they have to be in there first.
Okay.
But that'll be up to her to find, if she wants to use the same contractor, she can, welcome to contact them. We'll give her whatever information we have. The report, the initial report inspection has all been done.
Okay.
The city's already paid for all that.
She has the ability to remove items that are not asbestos, friable
Right.
asbestos. So
Like the loose items in the basement.
trash and stuff like, she can go in there and work until such time that the asbestos contractor takes over and does an abatement.
Right, well, the actual mold, the actual asbestos materials. That is, initially, they're talking about, like there's some cabinetry in there that they want to remove so it doesn't get damaged. There's an antique cash register and things like that, and lots of stuff in the basement that is either garbage and or stuff that they're going to either salvage or use later, and they'll salvage that out. Which needs to be cleared anyway to make the mold and asbestos people ready for them to work.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of garbage can be removed immediately,
Exactly.
and stuff that they want to put in storage for use later. But that's what they can do. And then the mold and asbestos people come in and do the actual mold and asbestos removal.
All right.
There's not a lot in this building, but and the remediation of the mold is more of a cleaning, washing it down, and sealing it.
Okay. I just didn't know how that timeline, but
Yeah.
thank you for
So
clearing that up.
when we hand them the key, they can get in and do some demolition. Then like he said, the mold and asbestos people come in, and so there's a coordination of that. Again, we'll give her all of the information we have. She's not obligated to use that same contractor.
Okay. Thank you.
And we're committing to pay for a not to exceed at this time with this.
And when you mention historical items in there, not sure if you want to hang on to them or not, but we always have the Geary County Museum.
We're gonna use most of them
Okay.
in the redoing. Even our contractor wants to use some of the
Okay.
pillars and stuff, so hopefully we can put them back in the building that they're.
Oh,
coming.
definitely.
As
That'd
much
be
as
nice.
possible, that's what they plan.
Got our fingers crossed.
Okay,
Hey, Nick,
yes.
repeat that to me. I couldn't quite understand when you guys were talking about removal of historical stuff. What was the content of that kind of part?
Jim had mentioned that if there was some historical stuff in there, that we had a museum that would take those, and the owner said they were going to incorporate some of the historical items that were left in the building in the refurbishment of the building.
Oh, okay. Yeah, which would probably really look neat if they did do that.
Right, right.
Okay.
That
Thank you.
cleared up?
Yeah.
Okay.